And it's been an unbelievable experience. It's been my education to travel with the great James Blood Ulmer. I don't know if any of you out there might be familiar with Blood, but he's a living legend of the electric guitar. Incredible blues player, incredible jazz player and rock player, and just an innovator and a totally inimitable player, I would say. I've been privileged to play with Ijigayehu Shobabao, who's known in the Ethiopian community as Gigi, one of the greatest singers to emerge in modern Ethiopian music. And I toured with her for a few years. It was an incredible experience playing Ethiopian music and seeing it captivate people all around the world. Well, not all around the world, but in vast places. I wish we got to tour more, honestly. I also got to travel extensively with Kirsch Kale. I'm not sure if any of you guys might have heard of Kirsch, but he's another brilliant, brilliant artist. I call him the tabla beat master. He's a great tabla player, but he also plays the trap kit, and he plays piano, guitar, sings, just incredible multi-instrumentalist. And I had my formative experience in electronic music with him. I played with Maya Asusena, who's a wonderful R&B singer, neo-soul, contemporary soul singer who has just done amazing things. I'm so proud of Maya and how she's just continued to flourish in her career. I've played with Tamar Kali for many years. They call her the Geechee goddess of warrior hardcore soul. We were featured in the movie Pariah. We were featured in the documentary Afropunk, which has sort of gone on to be an institution unto itself. But we were right there at the beginning, headlining the first Afropunk events. I toured with Liddell McClin, a great blues player out of Chicago. And on different occasions, I've played with Mark Broussard, who's a great singer out of Karen Crow, Louisiana. I shouldn't say on different occasions. I meant to say actually on one special occasion. I won't go into all the story or the backstory, I mean to say, about that particular event. But basically, it's me being thrown up on stage without being able to rehearse with the band. Just a bunch of music to learn, and then you're on stage in front of thousands of people. So I've had some high-pressured situations that I've dealt with in my career, and it really made a man out of me, I have to say. I remember going on tour with Lily Hayden, great violin player who's played with P-Funk over the years, and there was a little confusion about timing and dates. I literally thought we were getting started in September, and it was like, no, August, like next week, as in I was completely unprepared, and I had to go on tour with her the very next day, and just through the power of soul, I guess I could say, I just learned all of her music, and we went on tour to support her album release. One of my best friends, the great Peter Prince, the godfather of rocket soul, is another one of my credentials. He's the leader and the founder of Moon Boot Lover. So I had the honor of playing with Moon Boot for years. Me and Swiss Chris, the original drummer of Earth Driver. And Earth Driver is my band. And that's a band that is a legendary band in its own right. Our first album was called No One's Slave. And that's where I'm coming from, guys. You hear what I'm talking about on this show, and hopefully you get the gist of where I'm coming from. And yes, indeed, I believe that we are all entitled to human dignity. I believe that we are all entitled to grow in our own way, through our own process, and we should be protected from violence and denigration. And I feel adamantly about those things. This is a medical freedom dedicated show, as you might have noticed. And I wish, we could have just focused on more cultural things. That would have been nice. But I was forced into citizen journalism through the mandates, through the forced vaccination agenda that continues to haunt us, basically. They really won't let it go with this coercive medical regime, and we need more and more people to stand up and to declare that we are not guinea pigs. We do not wish to be experimented on. We do not want our children available for experimentation. And speaking of children, before I forget, I want to say happy birthday to my son, Marcus. He just turned 6 years old, and I'm so proud of him. Happy birthday to my wife, Irie, too, because, of course, every child's birthday is the mother's birthday as well. And, it's my children that I'm here fighting for. I mean, I was a fighter in the first place. I do believe in my own human dignity, and I do want to stand up for myself, first of all. But now that I have children, it's a no retreat, no surrender type of situation. I really need to protect them from what feels like a dehumanizing force that's creeping up on us, this digital currency issue that's looming, this notion of the emerging biosecurity state where we're all going to be subjected to forced medical intervention and medical examination and all the other little oppressive details therein. I also want to mention that we are going to discuss Israel-Palestine next week. I will be joined once again by Ryan Christian of Last American Vagabond. I'm really honored that he's again joining me and helping me uplift this platform. He's been doing incredible coverage of the atrocities that are happening in Palestine, and I didn't want to avoid that conversation, by the way, but we are a medical freedom focused show in the first place, and I wanted to stay consistent to that theme, and I didn't want to do a half-baked discussion of Israel-Palestine. If we're going to go into it, I want to go into it thoroughly. So I also want to mention, before we take some calls, that I have a new Substack out, and it's called You're Not a Doctor, ! Subtitled, That's Neither Here Nor There. So please check out my new Substack. I do want to mention that this program is a nascent program. We've succeeded in having amazing guests on this program, and I want to remind everyone of some of the guests that we've had here. We've had my good friend Ryan Waters, the lead guitar player of Sade, was here on episode 1, and I was so blessed because he was in town for a gig with Liv Warfield, and it was just a matter of chance that basically he could join me in studio that day for the inaugural show. So that was an honor. Ryan is a great guy and, one of my favorite musicians in the world to collaborate with. He's the co-producer of No One's Slave, the album I mentioned earlier. Ryan Christian, who I just mentioned, I forgot about that. We started out our whole series with back-to-back Ryans. Ryan Christian joined me for episode 2, which was an incredible thing of him to do, because I'm just getting started here, and he already has a big name, a big platform for himself, but he's doing what people rarely do, unfortunately, which is just uplifting others. So I'll always be indebted to him for that. Episode 3, we had the family man, Jeremy Poole, the Scottish accent. Actually, I hope I'm not messing up wherever. I'm sorry, I'm calling him Scottish. Please forgive me. He's from Wales. But yeah, our brother from Wales who lives in Spain, who does brilliant videos covering economic information, demographic information. He's been covering the excess death issue very thoroughly, and just an intelligent fellow who I was happy to connect with in the struggle. Tessalina, who's a Substack legend. I think I got a big boost from being interviewed by Tessalina. I think she brought me over the hump in terms of getting over 300 subscribers on Substack. She has 20,000 followers, but that's what I'm doing. I'm crawling up the side of the wall, trying to increase the visibility of this program just so we can bring more people into the conversation. We had Dr. Merrill Nass, who I had the pleasure of listening to last night on the Vaccine Safety Research Foundation weekly talk. She was brilliant as always. I'm not going to try to give a full recap, but she's also going to join us again soon. She's traveling, but sometime soon. I don't want to make a random date, but basically she's done traveling and she'll be available at some point right before the beginning of the new year. And then we're going to definitely get her booked and on the air for all the updates that she has to provide us with. My good friend, Brother Craig Blue, who's going to join me again soon in studio. He's going to co-host with me on a very special show we have coming up. We have Stephen Newcomb lined up for our day after Thanksgiving show. And as of now, Brother Craig Blue is going to be in studio with me. And we had an excellent conversation talking about the state of our black community and a variety of issues. We touched on the medical freedom conversation. We had Steve Kirsch. And actually, could you guys get on Twitter and bug Steve Kirsch and tell him that you heard him on my show? Because he hasn't retweeted our interview yet, but he's very, very busy. So I'm not faulting him for that. He has a lot of interviews to do and a lot of work to do. And he is a champion of the movement who blessed us by joining us on the airwaves and, filling us in about the hard work he's been doing with the Vaccine Safety Research Foundation. Episode 8, we had my sister in struggle, Stephanie Edmonds, a medical freedom champion who stood up to mandates, a teacher who stood up boldly to mandates, immediately became a media activist and a home education resource for many people. My brother Kevin Nathaniel, my bandmate both in my band Earth Driver and also our group, the Healing Sound Ensemble, as well as our duet project, Spirit of the Earth. But I was so honored to have him in studio again, and we got to discuss the medical mandate situation and what we faced as musicians. We immediately supported each other. As soon as the crisis started unfolding, we sort of caught eye contact from across the room and said, okay, you know what's going on. And I said, yeah, you know what's going on. And we immediately started collaborating. And actually, he was doing these great underground events that we didn't even get to discuss when he was on the air called Breathe Easy, letting folks get together and jam and play music when we were supposed to be afraid of each other and separated. We had Sujata Gibson, who's also going to join us again soon, and she's also very outspoken about Israel-Palestine, and we're going to have the Israel-Palestine discussion with Sujata Gibson on a forthcoming show. Another great friend of the program and a champion of the medical freedom movement. Dr. Jessica Rose is our most downloaded show on Podbean. So thanks to Jessica Rose, she gave me a big old shout out on Twitter, and that just kind of gave me a nice little media boost, and I appreciate that greatly. And we're going to get her back very soon because there's just so many updates with all these various sub-conversations within the overarching conversation of medical freedom, human dignity, body sovereignty. Last week, we had the brilliant Richard Fleming, the physicist, the nuclear cardiologist, the attorney, on the air, providing his incredible insights into the origin of COVID-19, the harms of the mRNA platform, et cetera, et cetera. So I'm really trying my best, guys. I'm trying to bring you guys great guests, great conversations, and I want to give you guys a platform to let me know what you're going through, what you've observed. If you want to talk about Israel-Palestine today, if you want to talk about any of the previous conversations that we've had, if you want to just get something off of your chest or share an observation of something you saw in your neighborhood or your part of the world, you're welcome to do so. So I believe we do have a caller on the line, and I want to welcome our first caller to the Bassline. We have Sherry Ann from California. Are you there, Sherry Ann?
It's Sherry Ann. Hello?
Hey, say that again. I'm sorry.
It's Fairy Ann.
Fairy Ann?
Fairy Ann.
Fairy Ann.
You know, Fairy Ann from Harlem.
Oh, okay. Excellent. How you doing, sister?
I'm okay. I just left New York and just literally landed in SFO Airport, and I was like, oh, I hope I didn't miss Jeremiah's show.
Oh, that is so sweet of you to say that. I mean, I'm glad you're tuning in
And,
with such dedication.
Yeah, and I've been thinking a lot. I just went to the Upper West Side of Manhattan yesterday for the first time and a long time, which is where I used to be a teacher and got fired and got banished, basically, from all the 14-year relationships I had with people at my school after I had a viral video of me talking about how I've been pro-choice my whole life. It's my body, it's my choice.
Right.
And it's still my body and it's still my choice. And it was really mind-bending to really confront how people who really, really believe in my body, my choice, somehow found a way, a loophole in their mind to not see the vaccination program as the same thing. And yeah. How do we heal going forward?
Good question. I think
from the PTSD of social exclusionary practices and behaviors and. Whew.
Yeah, it's a good question. How do we? I mean, we have to feel strong and firm within ourselves, first of all. This was a grand unveiling, you know. We can't discount what we've endured and what we've witnessed. You know, I don't think it's good to be repressive. I think we need to face the facts. That's always been my approach, you know.
Yeah.
I believe in the face the facts kind of approach. Christine Anderson actually made some really brilliant comments about that yesterday on the VSRF Thursday evening talk. She was saying, you know, if a family has a kidnapped child, God forbid, and they don't know the whereabouts of their child, they'd rather know that their child was found dead than never know what happened. You know, like that was her example of basically how resilient we are. And, you know, there's certain pains in life that they're pains that we live with. I mean, you lose a loved one or certain tragedies happen. These are things we live with. It never washes away. I was just talking with a good friend of mine who's on the line, I believe, about time and space is a distortion, you know. We're sort of, you know, that's what we're up against is time and space and the way it's been manipulated and controlled. You know, someone can just mention something to you and you're right there in that moment, and time and space and the way that it's been explained to us just doesn't really apply.
Yeah, I was just watching on the plane a documentary called Lakota versus the United States.
Wow.
And it's just so pertinent to all of it. It's like it's pertinent to what's going on in Israel and Palestine right now. It's pertinent to what happened with our bodies. It's the same, you know, colonial mentality. And one of the things that was really beautiful is one of the Lakota persons was saying that their ancestors, at the moment that this land was stolen from them, were praying for 7 generations in the future. And that's his granddaughter. And he's holding his granddaughter saying, this is who was prayed for when they were coerced and forced into making this decision to try to not have all their children kidnapped.
Wow. That's intense.
That's my recommendation. Lakota versus the United States. There's nothing new.
Well, thank you for that recommendation. Please stay in touch with us. We do have several callers on the line. I thank you so much for taking the time to tune in while you're in California. Enjoy. Are you coming back soon? Are you on vacation?
No, sorry I missed you. No, I'm coming. This is home now.
Okay. Well, enjoy your lovely California. And
I'm way up north. It's okay.
Oh, okay. So it's a little windy up there.
Love you, Jeramiah.
Thank you so much. You too.
On your amazing show.
Thank you so much. Please spread the word. We love you too.
Absolutely.
Talk to you soon.
Bye.
And now we have a good friend of mine, a collaborator of mine. We have Mr. Na from Planet Earth. Mr. Na?
Respect. Rastafari.
Yes, brother. So speak to us. You were on fire this morning. My brother, Mr. Na, he's a poet, and when he speaks, it's just poetry. We don't even need an engineer. We just need someone to just click record. And when this brother starts to speak, he speaks with great passion. Actually, he hit me up this morning with this great concept for all of us, which is the revolutionary determination to live. Talk to us, Mr. Na.
Yes. They like to make it seem complicated. That you need an intervention in order to carry on. If I'm okay, how does, taking a shot of anything make me better? I'm already okay.
Right. I was saying that. Someone imposing an emergency upon you.
And it's not that I'm against, like reading your article, I realized that that this war is common sense versus nonsense. And nonsense is kicking ass.
That's true. They got us up against the ropes. They're reining in the punches.
And common sense is the higher self, beyond fighting, beyond the art of fighting, without fighting.
Right.
Be still and respect what is. The love that you are. Love is forever.
Yes.
And we're dealing with fear and the want and need of power.
Mm-hmm.
And security.
Mm-hmm.
It's fear of death. What's going to protect me from death? Death is inevitable. What is your life about? Are you a person of the earth, or you some farm animal to be experimented on? What is it to be a human being?
Yes.
And this respect that no one in the sound of my voice for centuries have been born in a peaceful world. And this war, slavery, and genocide, this combination of madness that we succumb to or resist. The thing is, people quick to say, I'm not racist. Impossible. You consider yourself black, you consider yourself white, you consider yourself... We're dealing with the myth of white supremacy. We're in the aftermath. And all this math is what is common sense and what is nonsense.
Yeah, that's it, brother. What is common sense and what is nonsense? Brother, Mr. Na, thank you so much for calling in today. You blessed us, and I knew you would. And
love
I agree with
every
you.
Time. Love conquers all. Love every time. Love is forever. That's life. False evidence appearing real. That's death. And we all this stuff is getting comfortable in death, and it pretends to give you life. This vaccine that doesn't stop anything, but it becomes the thing that it's supposed to stop.
Right.
So the thing is that it's not about freedom. It's about being free. What is being free? A needle in my arm is not free.
No, you're right, brother. You're speaking the truth. Brother, we have a bunch of calls lined up now, thankfully.
All right, do your thing, brother. I love you, and I love Love every time. Peace.
Love, brother. Love. That's my dear friend and collaborator, Mr. Na. MRNA. Mr. Na. We have Rick from Port Washington. Is Rick lined up still? Okay, excellent. Brother Rick, are you on the airwaves with us?
How you doing?
Very good. How are you today, Rick?
Good. Good to hear your voice.
You too. How are you? What's going on today? What are you thinking about?
Well, basically, I mentioned some of these ideas on Utrice about 5 months ago, I think.
Okay.
But we really don't have an overall political plan.
That's very true. That's very true. I agree with you.
You know, if we were to ask, like a representative sample of citizens, where are we going?
Yeah.
They're going to be like, I don't
all
know,
over the place. All over the place.
All over the map. So, what I would suggest, and this is true whether it's domestic in the U.S. or Ukraine, Russia, or Israel, or anywhere, I would say the first thing is we use, for polling, for surveying, we use this idea of representative citizen sample.
Mm-hmm.
They are in a passive position. We ask them these questions, and we get the results. But the use of that element stops there. We don't use it for policy exchange, discussion.
Oh, no. In fact, we contradict the will of the people regularly.
Exactly.
And constantly.
Exactly. And we don't use it for policy formation. And once we, as a people, there's that phrase, we the people.
Right.
But the truest definition of that in my brain is a representative sample. And if we were to come up with a plan, a policy plan, and I've mentioned like some of the election reform ideas that I have on Gary's show, like also about 5 months ago.
Mm-hmm.
Downstream from that, as I was saying to him, are the economic issues, which are mostly the healthcare issues, because if you have a crazy two-party system that's non-accountable for various reasons, you're not going to get the change. It doesn't matter what we talk about, in Israel, here, Ukraine, it doesn't matter, because the system is unmoving. So if we were to come up with a plan, and then in like a bottom-up way, instead of the top-down system that we have now, find the candidates who will support that plan.
Yeah.
That would be that to me would be the solution.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to get into a full hashing out of your idea right here. I'm very thrilled that you put this on the table. My only issue is just in listening to what you're saying is in terms of just the vast corruption that we're facing. It's like, really, a good candidate? I mean, that just doesn't really exist, basically. I mean, we've seen these enormously powerful, Wall Street entities basically place our leaders before us, and it's a pay-to-play system, So it's like, do we do a big shake-up first of all? Like, how do we even get ourselves into a position that we could exercise a legitimate process? But I greatly appreciate what you're saying, and I'm glad that you're thinking like this. And everyone needs to we need to take the time to have these conversations and put our heads together and figure out, well, what can we actually do to make a dent? That's what I want to happen with this show, actually, is I want this show, and I don't want to start sounding power hungry myself. That's the sort of weird paradox is, we have to be humble while gracefully using power, but I want this show to be able to move the needle. I would like to be able to make an announcement on this show and people say, okay, we need to support that. Everyone chip in $1 or everyone show up at City Hall or whatever the case may be. Everybody retweet this tweet,
Exactly.
But I really appreciate you calling in. Please stay in touch with us. Please check out my newest Substack if you haven't already. It's hot off the press. If anybody sees a typo in any of my Substacks, please just give me a little message and I'll go and edit it. That's one cool thing about Substack. Once you press publish, you can go back and fix a comma or an apostrophe. Or I think I saw this morning at like 7 in the morning, I was listening to the playback, like the voice playback of my own article. And I think I said I forget how I put the M where the N is supposed to be and the N where the M is supposed to be in autonomy. Like, ooh, that didn't sound right how the AI voice said that. So if you see a typo, please let me know. I'll fix it right away. But please check out my new article. And thank you so much, Rick, for calling in. And please stay in touch with us.
Sounds good. Take it easy.
You too. Thank you. I believe we have Eduardo from Brooklyn. Is Eduardo still hanging on there?
Absolutely, Jeremiah.
Excellent. Hey, thank you for calling, Eduardo. It's good to hear from you.
Absolutely. Indeed. People's Republic of Brooklyn.
Yes, brother.
Been here for half a century, brother.
Yeah, with the revolutionary determination to live, right?
Yes, and to actually thrive. Okay, so I am in the process of pushing back. I am the proud recipient of a termination status from Health and Hospital Corporation because I refuse to be forced into any medical imposition.
Well, bless
And
you for
so-
that, man. You know, solidarity.
Thank you and bless you. Thank you, brother. So I'm not about just spewing what I stand for. I actually am dealing with it for the past 2 years. It's been out November 29th of 2021. So I know there's a lot of people on the line, and it's my first time calling in a live show. But you mentioned a couple of your guests, and I was wondering, Jeremiah,
Yes, sir.
will you be able to share with us? I am in need of legal counsel. I want to be able to see how can I sue them for illegal terminating my status. Who do you think, from what you've researched and all your exposure to these experts, who do you think I can reach out to so that I can push back and sue these people?
I'd say, hey, reach out to Sujata Gibson, our powerhouse attorney, our former guest who just sued, or I don't know what the various legal terminology, the difference between suing and filing charges and all this stuff. The law is not something I've gravitated towards, but we had some legal victories. We've had some legal setbacks, unfortunately, but I'm not sure if you heard our interview or my interview with Sujata Gibson, but the healthcare workers in New York State just won their case, and the Supreme Court of New York State said to the governor and to the state itself, no, that's not constitutional what you did. You violated their constitutional rights. Now, the full compensation for that, have all those people gotten their jobs back? Maybe some of them have moved on with their lives and don't want their jobs back. I don't know. But yeah, somehow, if you could send me an email or even reach out to Sujata Gibson on Twitter. She's rather accessible, just like she was willing to appear on this program. But there are people.
I'm sorry, brother. Do you have a telephone number or anything like that I can call? Please.
Yeah, you can look on my website, jeremiahhosea.com. JeremiahHosea. And that's for all of you guys, by the way. That's my website with my music. Please, guys, buy a song for $1. Make me feel like a champ, so I can buy snacks for my kids. But you have my phone number there. You have my email address there. Reach out to me, and I'm sure you could at least get a consultation from Sujata, who's located in upstate New York. But if she couldn't help you directly, I'm sure she could send you in the right direction. But yeah, we need people such as yourself standing up for themselves, because yes, your rights were violated. And no, we should not go quietly into the night when our rights are violated. And that's one of the sort of offensive things that has gone on here, is first you want to violate my rights, and then you want to tell me to forget about it. Well, no, it doesn't work like that. We're not going to play the amnesia game with you guys. We know what happened, and we need to see this through till the end, because if we let them do this one time, it can only get worse if we don't stand up for ourselves definitively and in a pronounced way.
And I just want to piggyback on what you just said.
Yes, sir.
In the past, I've heard Gary said that it only takes about one of the population to cause a revolution. And that stuck with me, Jeremiah, for quite a number of years. I cannot fathom, I cannot believe that we cannot even get 1% of the population here in New York to push hard where it hurts, that we can come together. I mean, just to give an example, the week before September 27 of 2021, there were almost 100,000 employees in healthcare workers that were still holding back. And will you believe that they all gave in just before the deadline? How we stood together before September 27 of 2021, they would not have been able to cover all the shifts.
Wow.
There wasn't going to be enough technical nurses, doctors available to cover the hospital's needs.
And I believe in some states the medical workers did stand up a little bit stronger. I think there were some success stories. Ohio might be one case, I'm not sure, but I think mandates were pushed back in some locations where people did make a unified front. But yeah, I mean, in New York, we just folded like a tent in the wind, man. I mean,
and you remember that, I mean, I'm a veteran of the 2009 pushback of the H1N1 swine flu.
wow.
I mean, I even went up there with Gary to Albany, and it was a massive success. And as you may remember, David Patterson became the acting governor because you know what
David
happened
Patterson.
to the other fellow.
Yeah.
So they had given us an email saying that all healthcare workers who do not get the swine flu vaccine by December 15th of 2009 were going to be sent home without pay.
Wow.
And
Interesting.
Yesterday.
So yeah, we've been building up to this.
So people don't realize that it's the president.
Yeah, you know what I have to say on that note, and I'm sorry, brother, I don't want to cut you off. We do have a bunch of people on the line, and I want to get a bunch of people in, on this banana. No, don't apologize, brother. You enlightened us and you uplifted us, and you definitely, you spoke some vital truth here. But yeah, I'll just say quickly, I'm a New Yorker. A friend of mine I remember said I was on some New York till I die type of stuff. Like, other people dream about where would they move if they could live anywhere they wanted. And I'm just like, no, I'm going to stay in New York. But I'll tell you, as much as I am a New Yorker, I was born and raised here. It's so much a part of who I am. I'm so disappointed with our city. I mean, I thought we were tough, and it's like kind of like the bully who's like, "Oh, you're not that tough. Actually, you just got your butt kicked real easy." I didn't see the fight. I didn't see the fight in us, man. I thought we would be a lot tougher to take down than that. So yeah, I'm still recovering from that, from realizing, my city's not as tough as I thought we were. But brother, please stay in touch. Find my contact info at jeremiahhosea.com. And let's please go stand up for yourself. Get some legal representation, because you're in the right and your rights were violated. So yeah, you deserve compensation. Totally.
Thank you, brother. Much blessing to you. Much respect.
You too. We'll be in touch. Reggie, are you on the line from Bed-Stuy? Do we have Reggie?
Yes, Reggie Sylvester. Drummer, professional musician.
Oh, my brother. Okay, there we go. I was like, where's this guy going with this Sylvester business? Okay, my brother. Okay, Reggie Sylvester. Okay, you're not trying to do some funny stuff. I know who you are. No. I'm so, man, hey, brother, thank you so much for calling in, man. And thank you so much for, for standing your ground and sticking up for yourself when they tried to have you with your back against the wall.
Oh, as the things that you talked about as a professional musician and the people that have listened to the show, I went through the same thing. And it's horrible when you lose 90 to 95% of your income. It's pretty bad. But I just wanted to ask, one, the archives of your previous show.
Yes, sir.
Can you put that on the general PRN Gary No archives? Because at least I don't see them there. Maybe.
Oh, yeah. We need to get that updated. I need to bug some people about that. Another thing that bugs me, and I hope I don't get in trouble for saying this, but they need to change, my aunt pointed out, they need to fix the blue on top of blue on the website. That's hard to read. Like,
It's a
but yeah, for everyone listening, please write this down. The Bassline, Bassline. So it's actually there are two different words, guys. There's bassline, like Baseline. That's not the name of this show. I'm a bass player playing low end bass, so it's Bassline.podbean. podbean.com. And actually go to JeremiahHosea.com, and if I'm not mistaken, a link to my show, my archives, I think are at my website now as well, to make it easy. Yeah, go to JeremiahHosea.com. And all 12 shows that we've done are archived. This show will be archived on Monday, and we're going to keep it rolling. You know, we have so many great guests that are going to join us, and so many great guests we've already had that are going to rejoin us. But brother, I want to collaborate with you, man. We got to figure out a way to get some rhythm section business happening.
Same.
Yeah. So we'll talk. Let's
talk.
Yeah, we got to do our free. Actually, you know what? Maybe I want to do our band. We want to start a new band called the Shadow Band. Okay. Can we do that? Let's start it up, man.
You have saved. I mean, having alternative information. If I wasn't an alternative listener to alternative, actually originally BAI from the 80s all the way through, I wouldn't have the template to at least check out the information. So individuals like yourself have saved my life. So I appreciate that.
Hey, well, thank you so much for that, brother. And, I got your back. And, I appreciate your words of encouragement, man. You've been encouraging and positive and keeping your head straight throughout the madness, man. So, I respect you for that tremendously. And I really want to collaborate with you. So let's figure that out. Yeah, let's talk. Let's get up in the studio, man. I'll see you soon, brother. And thanks for calling in so much. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Thank you. We have my brother from another mother. We have Craig Blue from the Bronx, who's going to be joining me in studio in just a matter of weeks. But Brother Blue, it's so great to hear from you. How are you doing today? How's everything going in Co-op City? How's Mama Blue?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Me?
I can hear you
All
great.
Right, man. All right.
How's
man.
Mama Blue?
Mama Blue's doing well. We just had a nice omelet and some sausages.
Oh, that's wonderful, man. That's wonderful. Yeah, hey, brother. What are you thinking about at this moment? I mean, we had a great conversation just earlier today, and we had a great conversation yesterday. So what's on your mind right now?
Well, it's good to hear other people. I think the one thing that we may forget sometimes in New York City is how many people were affected by the mandate.
Right.
And I myself was fired from a museum, an institution in Brooklyn, in New York City, that mandated the vaccinations. And I wasn't a permanent employee. I was a freelance employee, but it worked for them going on a good year, even during the pandemic, doing remote learning classes and drawing classes and things like that. And they had no issue and no problem with sending me an email saying you need to now get vaccinated or you can no longer work for us.
Right.
And even with my religious exemption, with my political views, they basically ignored everything.
Right.
And said, nope, we don't care. Legally, if you don't do this, we have the legal constitution to fire you and no longer need your services. And that, like many people that have just called in, that affected, a major part of my income.
Right.
And it's still affecting that.
Right.
And now we're coming up to the holidays, and as we spoke before, my position on American holidays, and I don't see what any of us would be celebrating.
Yeah, seriously. How ridiculous, honestly.
Especially here in New York, we should take a much harder position on the people that did lose their jobs, the people that were not rehired, that a medical intervention is nowhere near in any of the contractual agreements that we have with any work. You can't tell me what I have to do.
Yeah, really. How crazy.
Basics, physical or whatever, that I'm in good health, good mental health to work at this job, to teach. And now that has affected not only myself, but many teachers, healthcare professionals, civil servants, civil servant employees, and it's really despicable.
Oh, serious. And it's like, wow. So the intervention that needs the people who didn't take it to take it for it to work so that you could get the same non-protection as the so-called protected people had. Like, make it make sense. It's so crazy that they got up there, Joe Biden, pundits like Rachel Maddow said, if you take this vaccination, Fauci himself, as a matter of fact, and actually, it harkens back to yesterday, great conversation with Aaron Siri on the High Wire. Attorney Aaron Siri was pointing out the timeline of, hey, everyone's busy going to work and going about their American lives. But if we go and look at the Freedom of Information documents, if we look at the timeline of certain emails that have now been divulged through FOIA requests and whatnot, they knew it didn't stop transmission or infection, and they pushed it as though it did anyway. And when did we get so perfectly okay with just being lied to all over the place? It's like brother Mr. Na earlier was calling earlier, and it's like, yeah, it's nonsense versus common sense. It's the truth versus a lie. I mean, people need to stop supporting the lie. Hey, they lied. That means you don't trust them. That means they're not your friend. That means they're not cool. They're not good. Stop listening to them. Stop abiding by them. You don't get a chance you shouldn't get a chance to lie endlessly to a person and then still maintain an air of trust. Well, no, I don't trust you. You lied. Your information is incorrect. And that's another thing that I find interesting is once you say it stops transmission and infection and it doesn't, well, what else are you wrong about? Like the ridiculous assumption that they're only wrong about one little major thing. It's a major thing about all of this, but that's the only thing they're wrong about. Well, no, it seems like they're wrong about everything across the board. It seems like everything they said was either a lie or just incorrect or what have you. But, the truth is not in them.
No. And, like when you teach chess and we talk about chess, outside of the many things we talk about, when did we lose our sense of, that we're being strategized against in the larger community? We're being strategized against, and it's not the first time. We've been being prepped slowly but surely down this slippery slope of what we give up to what we call the governing body. What rights are we giving up? In 9/11, what rights did we give up? How did it change traveling? How did it change our conversation? How did it change our outlook on Middle Eastern countries? Continually, they just keep chipping away at our cognitive, at our critical thinking skills, and then we start practicing cognitive dissonance, where then the people that are being abused, not knowing they're being abused, then start defending the people that abuse us. Right.
It's Stockholm syndrome to the next level. Well, brother, you must be in the Bronx because you're hitting home runs like a Bronx bomber right now.
How we do, brother.
Yeah, but brother. Hey, I'm going to talk to you later. Thank you, man. Can't wait to have you in studio. I'm going to call you later. And we have another favorite of the Bassline. We have brother Phil on from Central California. Can you hear me, Phil?
Yes, sir. How's it going, Jeremiah?
Oh, it's going great, man. Good to hear from you, man. I'm so glad that you were able to get on the air with us today. What are you thinking about, man? How's everything going out there where you are? What's the latest?
Well, it's going all right out here, just trying to make ends meet.
I hear you.
As a working class person out here in California.
I hear you. What do you mean? You don't take a helicopter to work, Phil?
No, man.
I thought you had a $70,000 watch on.
we just hope the car doesn't break down on the way to work, And I was at work when I was listening to you speak with Dr. Richard Fleming.
Yeah.
And I think you started to ask him about, like, I'm not sure if you did or if just my mind made me think of this, but I think you guys started to talk about whether the virus was released intentionally.
Oh, yes, that was an interesting. Yeah, he made the interesting comment, which is that he said that all the internal documents show a panic on their part, show fumbling and bumbling, and he feels they don't show an intentional action, which I think that's a fair point of view. Guys, I have my own opinions, and sometimes I'll just say, oh, something doesn't smell right to me, but I do not try to assert any suspicion I have or an opinion I have or something I've imagined. I do not assert that to be fact. So it's a very interesting question. There's also sort of like the kind of the paradigm that we get from 9/11, where you have my hop and lie hop are the two schools of truthers. You have my hop, is it made it happen on purpose? Lie hop, let it happen on purpose. So there's always that kind of thing. Did they do it on purpose, or did an accident happen and they immediately configured as to how they can profit from it in a maximum way? I don't know. But but what were your thoughts about that aspect of the discussion, which I do recall that, and I think that's an interesting discussion overall in this whole thing that we're discussing about this virus and how it changed the world.
I mean, my immediate thought was the fact that we know that Michael Callahan from the CIA was in Wuhan at the time of the outbreak, from the Real Anthony Fauci book by Robert F. Kennedy Jr.
Right. And
that's like at the end of the book, page 397, where this narrative is recounted that, the Michael Callahan was there at the time of the outbreak, and he told Robert Malone, who was a fellow CIA officer, and that he was just outside Wuhan. And so Callahan reported, quote-unquote, magnificent infectivity, that he giddily reported his amazement at the virus's magnificent infectivity. And so this also made me think of how people often respond to, when I talk to people about this whole COVID issue, the fact that it's kind of past, in the past now, they want to leave it in the past. And then people tell me, well, Phil, I got injected and I'm fine, so nothing happened to me. So maybe you're just overreacting. When I bring up information or facts or evidence to substantiate my argument, often people I talk to just shrug their shoulders because of that fact that so many people got injected and nothing happened. But then I remember on the Defender podcast with Robert F. Kennedy Jr., he interviewed Sasha Latypova, and I think other people interviewed her and talked about this, and she discusses the batches and the lot numbers of the COVID-19 injectable drug products. And she discussed how some of the batches were inert, inactive, and some of them were quote-unquote hot or toxic or had, they were loaded. So it seems to me plausible that whoever did this, and that the CIA was in Wuhan at the time, Michael Callahan, and we know that there was the Event 201 staging the simulations before it happened. It seems to me that, and the way that often PSYOPs, psychological operations, are done in a compartmentalized fashion, maybe even Fauci and them were panicked because they really didn't know that it was going to get out, but maybe somebody in the CIA let it out, and they can track the lots, and they might know which lots are hot, which lots are inert, inactive, and that this way it can be a trial run for future injection mandates. And now that we see the excess mortality rates, they might be able to see, the lots that we distributed in that location, we can see that they had the effect of myocarditis as we hoped.
Right.
And the ones that are, tainted with the DNA, as we're learning now with the new information, your interview with
Brother Phil,
Jessica Rose.
Yeah, Phil, I'm sorry. We're running out of time. I'm so glad you called. And, I appreciate you so much. I want to respond really quickly to what you said, which is, it's interesting when people say, I'm fine. Well, or they say, everyone I know is fine. Well, have you conducted medical examinations on everyone you know? Like, you can't say someone's fine because they didn't drop dead right in front of you when you saw them. But there's also the fact of it strikes me how it's strange how people they don't care, it seems, how many people were injured. They say, there's some adverse events and that's just the way it goes. But it's like, but how many people? I mean, like, for example, if one in a million people got injured, well, that's 180 people, for example. If 180 million people were injected, who were the 180 people? I mean, we should acknowledge them. It's a lot of people. Or if 1,000 out of 180 million get injured, it's a small percentage, but it's a lot of people. So, I'm sorry, guys, we're out of time. I really wish we could have taken everyone's call. My apologies to Gino from the Bronx. My apologies to Thomas from Queens. My apologies to Mike from Maryland. I apologize to our brothers who I didn't get to talk to today. We're going to have more of these open-ended conversations, the listener check-in, because this is a community station, and we are out. I just hit the wall. Peace.